Right, so that is all the exhaust valves lapped in, lovely and smooth, all happy with those. The only other thing I'm going to do now is we've spent our time making sure these mated surfaces are bob on perfect. What we want to do now is protect our work. So all I'm going to do is, again, a bit of oil. I'm just going to dribble a bit around the valve, just around there. So we've got a bit of oil on there, plop that back in. So now those mated surfaces have got a protection of oil on there. So what we don't want to do is put that valve back in there dry. I don't know how long it's going to be before we rebuild the head properly, but we don't want any corrosion if there's any moisture there building up and then ruining the surfaces we've just done. So again, we're spending our time doing this work. Well, I am anyway. Might as well protect it. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time doing it in the first place. It doesn't take much. It's not expensive. It's just little things always help and prolong. So most of these haven't needed a lot of work. All of them are probably about the same amount. So I've done twice over with the coarse grit until it goes quiet. Wipe it off. Next bit of coarse. Go again till it goes quiet. Wipe it off again. Same again with the fine both times. And then wiping off any final leftovers that you can see is quite obvious. And then all we're doing now is just, like I say, a bit of protection to keep things nice and tidy. There. Simple as that. Shush. Right, so yeah, they're all in. Nice bit of WD-40 on them, or any kind of oil engine or any kind of oil-based lubricant or anything, just to keep their surfaces perfect. So all we'll do now is turn the head round, get it level, because again the inlet valves don't sit flush to the head, they're at that angle, so I would like them flat. Do that and I'll start doing the inlet valves and see how they come up. So that's a head swap round. Valves are pretty level to me. Now remember, you've turned the head around, so just remember this end is the cam belt end, so number one cylinder. So start using the right valve first. Don't turn the head around and go, oh right, that valve's first, because you'll mix them up. So let's get on with these, see how they come up. Right, so we're back at it again. So we finished the head. All the valves are now lapped in, looking perfect. The inlets need a little bit more work than the exhaust, but that is the side that was having the corrosion and water mess inside. So they're all beautiful in there. Again, I've got WD-40 on them just to clean them up. So they're going to stay in there for the moment. So what we're going to do now is turn the head over, leave the valves in. I'm just going to get a bit of wood under here just so the valves stay in cylinders where they should do. And then we're going to set about removing the valve stem oil seals. And then once we've done that, I'm going to put the valve springs back on so the valves are back in there. And then we're going to take a couple of measurements and I'll show you how to measure the CC in the bowl and measure the head itself, just so you can see, because it's been put in polish, you want to know how much has been skimmed off the head, if any, and the CC of the bowl itself, so we know we can match that to the head gasket on the vehicle, so we can remain at the same CCs you want to. So the ratio of 10 to 1 is what the standard engine should be. So even though it's been skimmed, etc., if you skim too much off and you put a standard head gasket or a different head gasket, you could then alter the CC, which could then in turn make the engine underperform, because it's got the air fuel mixture, or everything's set up and the timing for a set CC. If you've got that different compression ratio, you could run into not problems, but it just won't perform as it should do. So to have an engine to produce its peak efficiency, you want to run it at the CC and the compression ratio it was designed to, with the alterations of more air and fuel. So we'll go on to those bits next. So there we go. Just to correct what I did say, the valves have come out because obviously I need the valves out of the way to get the seals out. So valves are back out, aligned to where they should be, number one cylinder across, inlets and exhausts, they're all there, so you know which ones are going back, where they're going. So now I'll spin the head over and show you what the oil seal looks like and how to get them out, because they're quite awkward. So this is the valve guide seal, what you want to get out. It's the brown section here, so that's what it is, the squishy bit, and we want that out. Now there's a seal that goes in the valve, and it sits over in a little sort of cup that sits over the top of the valve's guide. So what you want to do is get a very sharp flathead screwdriver. See, I've only pushed that lightly and it's already cut the seal, so it shows the seals are well past it. There's a little spring just there, and that spring is what holds the tension around this rubber seal and keeps a constant pressure on the seal to seal. So what you want to do, try and get that spring out of the way. Can be very fiddly. So there you go, there's the spring. That's that out of the way. So now the spring's out of the way, what we want to do is ideally sit on this little ridge here. This is the outer edge of what the seal sits in. So what you want to do is get your screwdriver there and a hammer very lightly. Cut in, because what that screwdriver is doing is cutting in to the side of the cup which it sits in. And once it's done that, what that does is then enable you to get the screwdriver just in the side. This is awkward doing this because I'm trying to look through a camera trying to do it. So this may take some time. So again, get it in the same position again. And that's what it's done. So there we go. Now that's all loose. What you've done, there you go. So what we've done there is split through the seal. So what you've done is when you've broken the side of that little case there, it's then now not tight sat on the guide. So all you want then is a pair of pliers. Just reach in, grab the rubber part of the seal, right. That again shows how old these seals are when they're just falling apart. So what we can do is trying to hook it, the screwdriver. What I'll do, I'll just get a little hook. These are very little handy ones to get. You're getting there. All you want to do is just try and get it under the seat of the seal. Pull it up gently. Try and get under that broken side as well. See, it's coming up. Again, if this is the original head and these haven't been done, these are the original seals from Corrado engine, so 1993, 92. So they've had their money's worth. There you go, that's the seal just falling apart. And that's also the years of the heat cycles of the seals getting hot, cold, different grades of oil through there. That should just pull up now, I can feel it's right off. There we go. Where's it gone? There she blows. So there's the seal. I'll fish that out and I'll show you what they look like. Right, so here's the seal. This is what it looks like. It's that darker material with the seal moulded inside it, and then that presses over the actual top of the valve guide. And what we've done to remove it is, with the screwdriver, you see what it's done. It's split down the side of that housing, and obviously there's no housing inside, it's just a seal. So what you've done, or what we've done in doing that, is then widened the actual whole material releasing its pressure, and then it can ping off. And as I said, you see those seals are well past it. There's just a little retaining spring on the top to hold it on there, so a new set of those is about 20-30 quid. You're sort of looking at Ealing, or what's the other brand? Victor Rhines or something like that. Good decent OEM brand, because obviously these are going to go, they get very hard use, considering the valves going through those thousands of times a minute. So I'll get the rest of those pulled off. Again, that is just the top of the actual valve guide that goes through. It's got a shoulder on side of it. Again, you don't want to get some pliers in there and try and yank it out, because this is where the guide goes, the valve goes through. So you don't want to do any damage to the inside of that. There's a tiny little nick on the side of that, but that's not going to do any issues. So again, that's the way I take them off. They are fiddly, they are a pain, but they need to be changed. So that's that. So just now got 15 more to pull out, so I'll get all those out and then I will start putting the valves back in. Right, so that's all the valve stem steels out. That last one was a bit awkward. So I'm just going to pop the valves in now and put the springs back on. Like I said, this is just a strip down and check what's going on, what we need. I know we need a set of valve stem seals, which is fine. Obviously, I don't want to lose and miss track of all the valves, so they're all going back in. We know where they are. When it comes to final strip down assembly, that's when it's going to get deep clean and your new seals fitted. So I'll get on my sticking the valves in and getting the springs back on, and then we can move on to the next part. As you can see just down there on top of the valve, that is the two collets in the positions they should be, and now I'll just slowly release the valve compressor and you should be able to see those do their job. So this is the last valve seat and stuff going on. Forgot where I put the collet in. These are awkward, really are. If you're not in a good mood or you're a bit impatient, come back later when you're not so stressed or whatnot. We'll get someone else to do it. They are very fiddly, but you don't want to lose one of the collets or break one of them, because then you're just gonna, sometimes you need a little shuffle on the valve. There you go, she's in. So last one in, beautiful. Much easier with the valve compressor. Obviously I did make that tool before, which works just as good, but come on one of these now, so that's good. What put up there? So there we have. All the inlet valves are now checked. Guides have been checked and they're within tolerance, so they're staying in there. All the ports have been cleaned out, so we're happy with those. The valves are cleaned and they're fine. We've then relapped the valves in, so each valve is mated nicely to its surface. Remove the valve seals. It might seem silly from the outside looking in whilst taking it off and putting the valves and everything back in without putting new seals in. Again, this is just complete strip down and assess of what is wrong with the engine, what the engine needs. So I know once it's back together, all this head needs is some guide seals. So again, I'll strip it apart, properly clean everything, put new seals in, put it all back together, ready for it to be put to use. So I'll end the video there. I'll do those another day because that's another day's job. Yeah, so what we want to do in the next videos is measuring the height of the head, see if it's been skimmed or not, if it has been or hasn't been skimmed, and then CCing the cylinder head to see what CCs are, just so we know. Like I said, so when it's all built up, we know what compression ratio is going to be running, hopefully a standard or whichever you want it to be really. So that's that for today. So thanks for watching. Give the video a thumbs up, give us a subscribe if you like. Any comments or anything you want me to go over or explain in any way, just stick it in the comments and I'm happy to help. Cheers.